guys, it's Kylie, and for today's Vlogmas video, I have a DIY Christmas ornament collab. So today's video is a DIY Christmas ornament. Just use supplies that you have in your house to make an awesome Christmas ornament. And this was a collab put together by Jess from Disney Jess, and there's lots of different channels participating in it. So I will have all those different channels linked in the description down below for you to check them all out. For my ornament, I am going to be making one of the little Christmas ear ornaments. Kind of looks like the ears behind me, but on a little ornament scale. I think these are super fun and I really do enjoy making these. But if you guys are interested in more Disney videos and craft videos just like this, definitely hit the subscribe button, turn the bell so you get notified every time I upload, as we're in Vlogmas, so I'm posting every single day through Christmas. So now we're gonna get started going through me making the ears. I will say I'm not going in complete detail on this, and I will link in the description down below the video of me going into more detail if you're interested in that. So here's everything that you're going to need to make the ears. The first thing is some glue and a hot glue gun. I do have this template, which I will have linked in the description, that I made. It just simply has the size of the bow, which is 4 by 4 inches. That's the fabric size you use. The small cardboard cutout or foam board or whatever you're using. I'm using cardboard. The size of the cutout for the fabric, you can make this slightly smaller. I like a little excess fabric, and this shows that you need a little bit just to cover the edge. And the size of the cutout for the plastic rings. These are just plastic rings. I get them at Walmart or on Amazon. They're really cheap, nice. All you do is cut with some hard scissors or some nicer scissors. You just cut off the clip part. So I've already done that on the one we'll be using, which makes it nice and easy. You can also sand this down. I usually sand off the clip part a little bit just to make it less rough. And I'm gonna cover it in fabric, so it's not gonna be a problem. And then you do also need, so obviously your cardboard. I like to use a Sharpie. I like to have little scissors and big scissors. The big scissors are to cut just like the general fabric and some of that, but the little scissors are nice to cut it when you do the plastic ring itself. And then I do have fabric, so I already have the template kind of cut out into pieces right here, so I already have those separate. And then I'm going to be using, because this is a Christmas DIY, I'm going to be using this Christmas fabric and using this for my ornament. I am also going to be using this green trim for my ears as well. So to start off, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our smallest, our cardboard cutout, and I am going to trace that, and we are going to use this for our cutout. So I'm going to trace 4 of these, and then I'm going to take my scissors and cut it out. So I'm just going to go around and trace this. You want to make sure these are definitely on the small side, so you want to make sure you keep it nice and close so that you don't want to make them too big. And then once I get that, I am just going to take my scissors and do this 4 times, but I'm going to trace it, and then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut it out till we have our final ear pieces. So I have my 4 pieces cut out. I did go through and make sure that they were all similar, so I trimmed them up if they didn't come out exactly, because sometimes it's hard to cut exactly around the line. So I have those all set. I'm now going to trace and cut out my fabric. So the fun thing about these is trying to figure out which design you want. The other great thing about these is that you also can use scraps of fabric. You don't have to use a full sheet of fabric. So I'm actually using the parts that I had used for ears, and I'm going to take my design and just figure out which designs I am looking for on my ears. I think for one of my ears, I am going to use the words and just kind of trace those out. They might not fully meet the thing, but I think I'm going to have that on the back of the ornament. So I'm now just going to take either my Sharpie or a gel pen or something to trace them out. So I'm just going around and tracing it. The next one I would like to have is Mickey and Donald. So I'm going to go up here where it has Mickey and Donald and go around and trace that. You want to make sure that you have a little bit on the bottom for a tab, but it's okay if it's not a ton. So I'm just going to draw lines there. I also want to have Minnie and Pluto. So I'm going to use this piece of Minnie and Pluto and go around and trace that out. And the 4th piece I wanted was the presents, so I'm just going to use these ones right here and trace this around. I'm also going to cut out my bow and all of that too right now, so I'm going to just cut out everything for my fabric. So now I'm also going to trace the plastic ring. You can decide if there's a certain design you want for the plastic ring. I'm not picky about what it looks like, so I am just going to go straight across this bottom piece that I have right here. If it's long enough, that's not long enough, so I'm going to go this way across the side just because that's what I have that's long enough, and I'm not picky about the look look of the plastic ring and where it's coming from. So I'm just going to go through and trace this rectangle. I'm also going to pull out the red fabric that I'm going to use for the bow and measure out the size of our bow. So it's 4 inches. So this side is already 4 inches. So I'm just going to draw a straight line that way. And then I'm going to go out another 4 inches and draw a little line. I like using these side pieces of fabric that aren't going to be big enough to do other pieces with, just because this is a great scrap project. That's what I love about these ornaments. It's a great way to use scrap pieces that you already have. It's scrap cardboard. The only thing you really need to get is some of the rings. I like to use the rest of it's all just scrap pieces, which is my favorite part about this. And then I'm also just gonna, when I cut it, I'm going to cut an extra little strip of this to use as the centerpiece of our bow. So now I'm gonna go through and cut out all the different pieces of the ears in the bow. One thing that I forgot to mention that you do also need is a little bit of polyfill. This is just to put in the ears and add a little bit to them. You don't need a ton. You can also use like a mechanical pencil or some sort of pen to stick it in there. You definitely don't need a lot of this, but I do have some of this as well. And I will link in the description down below a more in-depth video of how I'm making this for this collab. I'm not going in crazy depth on how I go into the ears and every little detail about how I'm making them. I'm just kind of showing you the quick process, but I will have that video linked in the description down below to check out to see if you want to actually make these for yourself and how to make these on a much more in-depth scale. So now that my hot glue is heated up, I am just going to go around and kind of glue everything together. So I'm just going to start off with these pieces and put the glue around the outside, and then I'm going to move on to the bow and the ring. So I'm just gluing these around and putting these all together, and for these I will be filling these with polyfill as well. So I'm just going to do all the gluing. So now I have my little mini headband piece, and I do have my ears, and I am just going to stuff those and finish those up. And then I do have my little mini bow, and we also do need to add trim to the ears. So I'm just going to show you quickly how I stuff them. I just take a little bit of polyfill and I stuff them in. You might need a little something small to poke it in depending on how loose your fabric is. Some of these pieces the fabric's decently loose, so it's easier to stick in, but if the fabric's really tight and you use a small amount of fabric, it can be harder to stuff. I will say, unlike ears, I like my ears really puffy. These don't need a lot of polyfill. You keep them nice and small. You don't really want to bend the little piece of cardboard, so you just keep them nice and small, and you put some glue on the back and you're all set with those. And then we're going to glue them together to then add the trim. So now I have all my pieces together. I am just going to throw some trim. I'm going to use this green trim to accent the holiday season on my ears, and then we are going to be good to put them on the headband. I think it's super fun to make different themed Christmas ornaments, and I don't just make these ornaments. There's other ornaments that I enjoy making, but I thought this would be a fun one for this collab just because this is definitely one of my favorites to make. I just think these come out so cool, and these are perfect Christmas gifts too. If you're into crafting, this is a great gift. I did this last year. Everyone in my family got these as a gift, which was super fun. I got to pick everybody's favorite Disney character and go around and give them all this awesome Christmas ornament for their Christmas tree. So I'm just going around and throwing on the trim, and you just trim off the trim on the end. I'm going to have the words as the back with the presents, and then on the front I'm going to have the characters. That's just how I want to do it. You can do it either way you want it. That's the fun thing about these, making 4 different designs, is you can decide later, okay, which ones do I want at the front, which ones do I want at the back. So I'm just going around and throwing on our last piece of trim. I think this is such a fun idea for a collab too, because so many swaps and swap boxes, you have to be sending stuff. This one's fun because it's just using materials you already have to make some sort of holiday ornament. So I'm just going around, and this is a great, obviously like I said before, a great way to use some of those fabric scraps, especially if you make ears. This is a great way to make the ears, but just on a very small scale, so you can use all the extra scraps you have from making your full scale ears. So now that everything is all set, I'm just going to glue it together. So I'm just going to line up the 2 ears the way I want them, make them even, and then I will be putting the bow in the middle like this. And the one last thing we're going to need, you can either use this trim or some sort of rope. We're going to use that to make our ornament. So going on, I'm just going to, same way I do my ears, put on some glue, and then about right here, put them on. Just kind of about eyeballing it. Over time you learn how to eyeball it and figure out where you want them, and just squeeze these on. And then I will be doing kind of mirror image on the other side. You want to leave a little bit of room in the middle to be able to put your bow and to be able to put your string for your ornaments. So squeezing on our second ear, Sometimes the glue does come up a little bit in the front, but I find that the fun part about these, because they're handmade crafts, it's okay if they don't look perfect, because they're all handmade. It doesn't have to be the most perfect thing you're making. And then for the way I do the string, I'm going to use this type of trim. It's just like a rope trim, and cut off a piece about this big. You can do it however big you want, depending on how much you want it to hang down. I'm just going to cut that piece of string. I am going to then glue the string right here where I'll be putting the bow, and then I put the bow on top of it. It just helps to hold it all together. So I'm just going to put the string kind of on the back half. So I'm just going like this, putting each part of the string, and I'm going to let that hold for a little bit. You gotta be careful at this time just because the glue's hot. You don't want to get hot glue caught to your finger. And then I'm going to put a dollop of glue on that / in front of that to then put our bow on. The bow definitely helps hold the string in place, and they kind of help hold each other. So now that I'm putting the bow on like this, we're just going to hold that in place for a moment till that glue dries. And then once that glue dries, I'm just going to take another little dollop of glue and put it on the back of the bow. And then I take the 2 pieces of the string and stick them straight up. This keeps them up at a vertical angle so that they are ready to go on the tree. If you keep them flat, they just kind of dangle around. This helps also to secure them. You can also take a little bit of glue and put it on the back of them just to really secure them together and put them up so that they're ready to hold off of the bow and go straight up onto your tree. And then one final step before we put them on our Christmas tree is I just like to do this on all my ears. I like to glue down the bow, so I just put a little dollop of glue and glue my bow into place. It just adds a little support between the pieces of the different ornaments. Not everything's glued to the headband, they're kind of all glued together as well. So here's what our final ornament looks like on a tree, and here are some of the other ones that I've created with some other fabrics. I really do love these ornaments, and I think this was awesome fun. I haven't done a Christmas themed one yet, so I think this was fun to do a holiday themed ornament. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. These ears were super fun to make. I really like that these ones were Christmas themed. I think they look awesome on my tree, and I do love making these ornaments. Definitely let me know if you make these ornaments. Definitely check out everybody else in this collab's videos to see what ornaments they decided to make, along with check out my advent opening for today and answer today's question of the day. So welcome to day 4 of our advent opening. Today's question of the day relates to the awesome collab that you just saw, and it's, what is your favorite craft to do? Do you like doing ear crafts? Do you like doing diamond paintings? What is your favorite craft? If you're not a crafty person, what do you like to do? Anything that you like to do in your spare time, just let me know. But I do love doing all these different awesome DIY ideas and these awesome DIY ornaments, so definitely let me know in the comments down below what your favorite craft is. And we're going to open up our 4th advent, so I'm going to pull open this drawer and pull out the pin we have inside and cut it open to see what we got. And the pin we got, it is one of the 2020 pins, and this one is Jack Jack. I think this is super cool. I did like this 2020 pin set, and I think Jack Jack is an awesome way to represent it. He's kind of carving out the center of the O in the first 20. This is such a cool pin, and I'm excited to add this to our Christmas tree of pins. So I'm going to take our board, and we are just going to put this as the next pin on our Christmas tree of pins. I think this is looking super awesome, and I'm excited to see how this continues. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Today I really did enjoy this awesome collab, and I'll see you guys later.